ASMONGOLD reacts to game developers celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk on Blue Sky. So we're going to be following a few statements that he made and then giving our reaction to it. Don't forget you can leave your comments in the comment section because like this is very important for us to have conversations around what's going on and give our thoughts on this developing story. Let's jump into it.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today we're going to look at some of the interesting users on, you would never believe it, Blue Sky. That's right. And I don't know how this keeps happening, but yesterday, after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, he was shot in the throat, bled out on stage in front of everybody, including his own family and his children. The number of people in the games industry who decided to go on to social media, particularly Blue Sky. A lot of these people, you have to understand that many of these people have already been run off of Twitter because there's a level of discourse and negativity that they can't really deal with. So the only place that they can really exist is on effectively a reservation like Blue Sky, where their opinions are protected and they're allowed to be vitriolic and nobody's allowed to tell them that they're wrong. Well, that's why we're making this video. We're going to be looking at some of the different people that, after the death of Charlie Kirk, decided to, and I'm not really going to be going through, everybody is going to draw the line at a different place. Here's where I draw the line. I personally have a big problem with people that are celebrating him being killed. I don't
When you consider the fact that these people who have these very strong leftist leanings or ideologies have to flee platforms like X, where their extreme views can be checked, fact checked, and countered, and they have to flee to a different platform where where there are no checks, where they're free to say whatever they want, and where they have this echo chamber that is basically full of people who believe the same things they believe, and there's no consequences for doing or saying the things that they say in those spaces. People generally take off the mask and behave however they behave like savages. And so it's no surprise that we're seeing this happen on Blue Sky.
don't have a big deal if somebody says I don't like him or I never liked him or something like that. But for the people that are celebrating for him being killed, advocating for future violence, and saying that it's a good thing, I think that's what crosses the line for me. And I think that's what crosses the line for any reasonable, normal person. And so, anyway, we're going to go through a number of people. And the first thing I wanted to start out with today is that maybe you guys remember this from the beginning of the year. It was a big content year, I would say that. And people might have forgotten, but there is a person who decided to advocate for killing your local MAGA. This was a Blizzard employee. And I want to say that after the video that I made on him and a lot of other people made on him, this person lost their job and effectively has ruined their life.
Now there are people that will be saying, "Well, should people do this to people who disagree with you and say things like that?" Well, I believe that there is a place for consequences to be meted out on people who literally break civilized law. Okay, if someone is out there in a civilized society advocating for harm to be done to other people in the society, they should be reported. That's the way it's always worked. If you know that there's someone who is planning to do someone else harm, you report them to the police. In this case, you report them to the internet police, you report them to their employer, and then basically there has to be a case made for what they actually said. And there's evidence right there on your screen that the guy literally said, kill your local MAGA.
And I want nothing more than for the exact same thing to happen to the people in this video too. So I hope that after you guys see these individuals and you see what they're advocating for, you'll be able to go out and tell their employer, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not comfortable funding a video game that is employing people that are advocating for the brutal murder of a person in front of their family. And it's absolutely insane, but it's also not surprising. And so, anyway, we're going to go through some of these. Obviously, I put out a post about this before. This was yesterday. If you guys want to make a list, and this is something I'll go ahead and just contextualize it all. So there's several game developers that are liking posts that are people mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. We'll look at pretty much who these people are. We'll start off with this. These are people, Dennis. Let's look at this. And this is also on Blue Sky. I'm 6'5" and Vans, Blue Sky Social, sound effects associate at Bungie. So, Bungie, you know, the game that's trying to make Marathon. I guess they were too busy. Oh, he's doing sound effects, not visual effects. So maybe he actually has to do his job rather than just copy pasting something off of Twitter. But anyway, you've got somebody like this who's advocating for, and again, people might think that it's not a big deal. Oh, well, these people aren't making these statements themselves. These people aren't really saying anything that is that extreme. Here's the reason why it's a big problem. The reason why is because it creates an ecosystem and an environment where the actual extremism and the actual radical behavior is feeling comfortable. It feels comfortable in an environment where you have this blase, passive acceptance of it, and you have people that are just basically complicit with it, but they're not openly saying it. They're just privately doing it, or they're just privately voicing their support as well. And well, I guess in this case, it's not private anymore, is it? And so anyway, we have a associate producer at Bungie who is liking and promoting tweets that are celebrating the death of a person being shot in the neck in front of their family and bleeding out profusely on the stage.
And these are the same people that claim that people from the conservative movement are hateful and are dangerous and should be cancelled. And yet, these are the things that they actually celebrate when it happens.
In front of millions of people. And so, good job, Bungie. Really good winners you've got here. I can't wait to play Marathon. I thought that my expectations for the game couldn't be lower, but somehow Dennis has managed to fulfill, or exceed those expectations, you could say. I've got another one also. Kelly, senior producer at Sucker Punch, amateur cosplay armor, D&D enjoyer, source of corgi pics, they and she. Okay. So we have also, and you're going to see this word, this term, sucker punch, a number of times. We're not talking about the action, but we are talking about the company. This is the company that makes the game, or that is making the game, Ghosts of Yotai. Ghosts of Yotai, and this is also important to keep in mind, is that the voice actress for the game, for the character itself, has gone multiple times on record making the most deranged, stupid comments like defunding the police. She's just your typical, like, libtard, insaniac, moron, retard, right? It's not really that complicated. But what it really indicates is that there's a culture in this company and there's a culture in this environment where this type of radical, violent behavior and language is normalized.
Yeah, so this is true because if you reward a certain kind of behavior, you attract a certain kind of employee or staff body. These are the kinds of people that come into companies like this. And it's the same on Silicon Valley or in Silicon Valley. Most companies in there that are historically known to donate heavily to Democrat candidates tend to attract employees who are heavily left leaning. So it is a no brainer that all of these people that are being called out actually have the same political inclinations.
You have multiple people at the company that are all saying these things, and we're going to get to the other ones too. This is another person here also that works at the company, and so you can see right here, obviously this is them retweeting or posting something that they did with the game, and then right after that, I hope the shooter's name is Mario so that Luigi knows his bro got his back.
Yeah, so he's not just picking out people's names, but look, these are actual people who are posting despicable posts on Blue Sky and even on other social media platforms celebrating the horrific death of Charlie Kirk in front of his two young children and his wife. And look, I would say, yes, I mean, personally, you can forgive them, but honestly, the statement does have to be made that this kind of behavior is unacceptable in a civilized culture. If they continue to be rewarded with jobs and promotions, and as they hold on to these far left dangerous values, they're going to think it's okay. Everyone is going to think it's okay. And when you reward bad behavior, what then happens is that you get more bad behavior.
And I've been noticed that Twitter has noticed me from the. I've been told that Twitter has noticed me from across the room. Well, we certainly have. We absolutely have. And I think that these kinds of comments are absolutely disgusting. This is a person that works at a massive game company, and they're openly advocating for on public platforms and promoting and celebrating the murder of a random person.
And you can see the banner across. Okay, you can't see the banner. I'm going to hide the branding on my screen. You can see the banner up there where they have this thing that says friendship defeats fascism. These are the people who claim to be the people that want to coexist. They want inclusion, as long as it's not, including people that disagree with their point of view. Inclusion for them simply means uniformity. It means no one is permitted to have a diversity of thought. You have to stick with the game plan of the leftist agenda, else you're out. So it's amazing that these kinds of people who claim to be people who want to coexist and to end fascism are actually the ones behaving like fascists.
This is disgusting. It's really disgusting. And in my opinion, I don't think that it should be tolerated. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. I think that everybody should try to message anybody that works at this company, anybody who, like any sort of PR, any management, anything like that. Let them know that you don't want to support a company that employs people that celebrate the murder of innocent people just for exchanging ideas. This is a disgusting, disgusting thing to do. And you can see also, and I think this is a systemic problem at the company itself. Whenever you have three people, the voice actress and then these two other people that are also doing this, I think that it's very obvious that this company has been infected with the same kind of moral rot that many other video game companies have unfortunately been affected by.
Yeah, and that's because they all recruit from the same pool. They all come from the same pool. The HR departments and the referrals and the employees all bring in their friends who believe the same thing. And once you have someone in the company who doesn't believe the same thing, they figure out a way to edge the person out. So eventually the company becomes one unibody of people who just believe the same thing. And that honestly is the reason why the quality of products coming out from these kinds of companies is falling through the floor.
And so you have also Zibs, they, them, always a very good indicator of mental awareness and normality. A producer at Magic the Gathering. So this person works at, I'm assuming, Wizards of the Coast. And they're working at Magic the Gathering Arena. Previously also at, wow, what are the wow, what are the odds of that? What a coincidence. And so what you've got here, this is again another person who is celebrating this type of violent behavior.
So whenever I have these reviews or reactions, and I point out the fact that there is a culture on the left, and you can trace that connection if you do the research. This is part of what I'm talking about. When you look at the traits and behaviors and the belief systems that are shared within communities, and then you look at, you can trace where they worked. You could even follow them and say, okay, so which schools did they attend? And you find out that they all come from the same cloth. They're all cut from the same cloth. They're all cut from the same cloth. So when you've watched this happen again and again, especially the thing with the pronouns, okay? Now, I don't talk about things like that because honestly, I don't like to talk about things like that. But when you see someone who is big on pronouns, You can tell where they are leaning, where they lean politically, where they lean when it comes to certain things. And then when you see a large percentage of them supporting a horrific act of violence like what happened to Charlie, it becomes very clear that there's something wrong, with the general belief system of this group.
And I think that, again, people need to make their voices known and make them heard that this is just simply not acceptable. This is not normal. This is not what average people want. We don't want to have people that are openly making statements and calls to violence like this, or celebrating calls to violence or actual violence like this, making our products. It's disgusting. And I know that some people would maybe consider and say, well, this is something that could be a little bit like cancel. And I want to say that it absolutely is. 100% is.
So people complain about cancel culture. Now, cancel culture has always existed. But what happened over the last decade is that cancel culture was inverted and stretched out to be used as, in fact, I would say it was weaponized by people on the left to attack people that they just didn't like. And so you would have people who would go back 20 years, find something that someone said 20 years ago, and use that to force certain, certain implications to be carried out on that person simply because this is someone that we don't like. There were personalities like Russell Brand, who everyone knew lived a debauched life, but as long as he was good with the left, nobody bothered him until he began to speak up about the things that the left didn't want him to speak up about. And then they began to dig up things that he did years ago when they were totally fine with him living the way he lived. They brought up all those things and attempted to cancel him for it. And so, it's always been there. Like, if you do a bad job, if you say something wrong, if you do something morally wrong, you always get the consequences for that thing. Cancel culture has always been there, but in the form that the left began to implement it over the last 10, 15 years, that was a new thing where you could literally scrape someone's internet profile and use that, to attack them and to get them removed simply because you disagreed with them.
The fact is that these are the same types of people who would lie about you and make up things about you and try to destroy your career and destroy your reputation for disagreeing with them on something political. But now, whenever it's happening to them, they're the victims. Well, if you want to be the victim, it's time to earn it. I think also, here's another thing, is that if you work at one of these companies and you have one of these individuals that works at your company, you do have a recourse to this, and that's calling and talking to HR. Because the fact is that HR does not operate in your best interest, and it doesn't operate in their best interest either. It operates in the best interest of the company. And when you have people that are making public statements and calls to violence and celebrating violence like that, they're creating a hostile and an unsafe work environment. And anybody who works in HR or anybody who works inside of any sort of corporate environment will tell you that that's something that just can't exist in a corporate environment. There's a reason why we have levels of decorum, and there are some levels of HR that make sense. And so if you work at one of these companies and you have a person like this doing it, make sure to talk to HR and let them know how uncomfortable you feel that there's a person who's working at your company who might want to advocate to have you killed because you disagree with them. Tell them that it makes you afraid to come into work. Tell them that, you don't know, maybe you're going to file a lawsuit, you feel unsafe at your workplace. And honestly, here's the important thing: you should feel unsafe, because these people would justify violence against anybody who disagrees with them. And just because you think you know them doesn't mean they wouldn't do the exact to you.
So let me know in the comment section if you agree with what Zach or ASMONGOLD has just said, because there's this conflict within the hearts of conservatives where, they need to be forgiving. Yes, I agree. You need to be forgiving. And forgiveness tends to kick in when the other person has shown true repentance. You're like, okay, they repented and they say they're sorry, they have a change of heart, you forgive them. And sometimes you proactively forgive, just to say, look, I forgive them, because this person doesn't know what they're doing. However, if this is something that's going to pose a danger to a group of people, a community, you do have to do something about it. So there's that conflict, and if you think otherwise, let me know in the comments section below. It'll be great to have those conversations, because there's always this conflict about forgiveness and justice. Do you support justice? For example, when this individual that assassinated Charlie Kirk and his collaborators get caught, there will be this call for forgiveness and for leniency, and how we don't have the right to take people's lives and so on. But the question is, if you don't do anything to punish the heinous crime that they have committed, you're signaling that it's okay for people to go ahead and do that. You give them a 5-star hotel treatment in one of the jails in the United States, and they get a life sentence, and then you're like, okay, the taxpayer essentially is paying for a hotel room for them for the rest of their lives, feeding them and clothing them, and maybe in 50 years they apply for they apply for early release, and maybe they get early release, and then they write a book. Okay, so those are the kinds of things that tend to happen, and it sends a signal to other people to say, well, I can do this and get away with it, and then I get to stay in a cell and get food and lodgings and clothing, and even use the library for the rest of my life. So the consequences for these things needs to be revisited, like President Trump has been saying. And I think that there's a conversation to be had. Let me know in the comments section what you think about that.
And this is them. This is the game that they're making right here. And you can see that they've made no statement about this. Now, let me ask you a very simple question. If these people made a degrading comment towards the trans community, for example, or towards the black community, for example, do you think Sucker Punch would have immediately fired them and made a statement? I think.
Yes, they would. And that's where the double standard comes in. Okay, there is a double standard. There is a double standard to these things. When it comes to one thing, everyone jumps on. They gave someone a side eye who happens to be from a minority community, they get fired. But when they actually say something, when someone else actually says something as dangerous as kill a MAGA near you, and it's like, okay, they just said something. They run interference for these kinds of bad behaviors, encouraging it, and now it has evolved to what we saw yesterday.
Think so, absolutely. But for some reason, these people are protected. And the reason why they're protected is because there's a lot of other ones at the company that feel the exact same way that they do. That's the only logical reason that I have. And I think that at a certain point, Sony or somebody needs to step in. Whoever owns this company needs to step in and root out this disease before it kills the entire company. Because I do think that it will have a tremendously negative effect on the game. And you can see this right here. This is a post that Sony made. I guess it was a couple of days ago about Ghosts of Yotai. And you can see 1,000 comments on this. Your senior dev at Sucker Punch is a violent leftist, etc. And these are more comments here. Never let up the pressure. Never, ever, ever do that. Keep this pressure up until these people lose their jobs.
I've said again and again on this channel that I would love for conservatives to be more vocal about about what they want, and I usually call for comments, and it tends to be that most conservatives either don't want to give a comment, they want to have their opinions and hold the opinions privately. But you know what, when someone else's opinions begin to infringe on your own private opinions and your own rights, it's time for you to start making your voice heard. And so I would like to encourage you, do more commenting, do more online engagement. Do you know what, when they take out these polls and say, look, the popular poll says this, they poll people who are used to answering polls, and most of the time conservatives don't answer polls because we're so busy. So try your very best to get out of that lazy mode of not communicating, not making your voice heard, assuming that somebody else will do it or somebody else is going to say that thing that you really want to say. It's very important that you lift up your voice, make your voice heard. It's very important that you do this. Very important that you do this. You can see that you have a bunch of comments already, and hopefully the guys at Sony will pay attention to these statements, because if these people celebrate the killing of an innocent man who only wanted to have civil discourse in universities and colleges and in the public space, what will they do to you? And Charlie Kirk was more visible, more influential, had more security than you. What will they do to you? Now you might say, look, you're raising you're becoming an alarmist. I'm not becoming an alarmist. It's just a very simple approach to thinking through scenarios. If you have someone who is willing to do X to this other person, what will they do to you? Okay, it's a very simple scenario, and we all have to come to terms with the fact that we do need to speak up. We do need to say something when someone who is a bad actor, who celebrates evil, is close by. We do have to say something about this. All right. Now, I'm not, and again, I'm not advocating for witch hunting and attacking people who don't deserve it. I'm talking about, when you see someone who clearly is supportive of actual violence, not perceived violence, not violence that's insinuated because you disagree with their position, but someone who is actually calling for violence to be done to someone else or to a certain community, and they're doing it openly and happily doing it, like we saw the celebrations. Go ahead and reach out and make some noise about it. That's really what Zach is talking about.
And then after they lose their jobs, then take a break, relax, pat yourself on the back, wait for him to get another one, and then do it again. And that's the only way that you should treat these animals. And that's exactly what they are. You shouldn't view them as people. You shouldn't view them as a person with a political disagreement from you.
So now, why all of this strong reaction and strong position from people like Zach, and me actually just chiming in and saying yes, I think it is the right thing to do? Is because most of us who speak like this have seen the video. We've seen the video. We've seen the video, and it is not something to be celebrated. And when you find other people who have seen the same video that you saw and that horrified you, and their response is to celebrate it, knowing that two young children saw their father killed and they saw that has changed their lives forever. And these people loved it. It tells you everything you need to know about it.
These are violent animals that are trying to destroy the last good thing that we have, which is the open ideas of political discourse. And they're celebrating murdering people for doing it. And as soon as that starts happening, I don't want to know what's next. And the worst thing is that I already do. And I think you do too. And so, anyway, we've got more of these. Here's recognition is not enough for me. I hope he tanks the studio. And cowards keep quiet. The studio deserves to go under. I understand why a lot of people at these companies don't speak up, which is why I suggest that if you work at one of these companies, please make sure to go to HR. Go to HR and file these complaints legitimately with them. There are certain legal things that they have to do. And in some cases, these people will pretty much lose their job for sure if enough people are discussing. And you have also some people make comments like this. It's wild how the woke right, like ASMONGOLD, Grums and others, showing themselves to be what they hate, authoritarian freaks that want to censor and silence anybody they despise. Um,
Yeah, so you're going to hear more of this in the future, because right now, conservatives, at least in the United States, have had enough. You're going to see a lot of pushback. The conservatives are no longer going to want to cede any more ground. That's what I think. I might be wrong, But I think we're going to see more pushback where conservatives are simply going to say, okay, here and no further. And oh, that thing that we said was okay is no longer okay. Oh, the other thing that we told you a few years ago that you could have, no more. Oh, and the other thing too, conservatives are going to start pushing back and clawing back at American values and restoring common sense in the public space. And these guys are going to say that, well, this is now hate, is authoritarianism, and it is censorship. That's what they're going to start saying. And you know what? The conservatives are going to just simply look in their faces and say, we don't care. We know what it looks like when we give you what you want, and this is not happening anymore. At least that's what I think will happen. And that's what a lot of people are hoping should happen.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think that anybody who's advocating for killing people over speech like this should be censored. Absolutely. And this is just normal. Absolutely. I don't. There's this trick that a lot of people like this like to play, which is they try to use your own language and use your own morality against you. These people don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about censorship. They don't care about any of that. They're simply trying to weaponize your values and use them against you in order for them to fulfill their own goals. And so every time that they try to make an appeal to your own values, you should ask yourself, do they hold these? And if the answer is no, then you shouldn't take it seriously because this person is simply trying to use your values to subvert you and take advantage of you and to push their own agenda and to hurt you. And so never listen to this, never play into this game, never even acknowledge that there's any validity to it at all. These people don't care about freedom of speech. The only time they bring it up is whenever they're trying to co-opt the person who does care about freedom of speech and make that person act against their own.
Yeah, and that's simply the attempt to shame you into giving them what they want. And honestly, it's high time we begin to approach them like children. I have three children, and my kids use all of those tricks, or they attempt to use all those tricks on me, and I've become very, very skilled at telling when they're using those skills at me to make me feel sorry for them. Look, rules are rules, and when someone tries to make you bend the rules for their benefit, only when it suits them, but when it's time for them to apply those same rules for the benefit of someone else, they say no. It's very clear that they don't think that those rules apply to them. And it's time to start putting your foot down to say, okay, fine. We played your game for so many years now. It's time for us to quit the game and start playing by the right rules.
But anyway, we've got also, this is me. I was supposed to put out the call for finding game devs mocking, and there's another one here. This is the voice actor for Diluc and Genshin Impact. This I hope they receive the same care that the average American citizen would get in the same situation. Really? So they're just gonna fall down and die? Somebody gets shot in the neck like that with their blood like spurting out. There's no health care. You're not coming back from that, at least not anytime soon with the medical care that we have now. And so anyway, at least he came out, at least he goes out doing what he loved, being a bigot. Yeah, of course you have more comments like this, more people like this. And if shoot police go if it's permanent, every post you make goes out to the public firehouse, captured by someone somewhere. The delete button doesn't do what you think it does. And so anyway, we have a lot of people obviously that are starting to say stuff, live by something. So she's obviously trying to make a statement of live by the sword, die by this. This is what, and I think that this is a very revealing statement. The last comment that I'm going to look at here is that this statement's actually extremely revealing because what it's saying is that from her perspective, living by the sword is the same as being killed. Speaking out and being able to like express your opinion on certain things should be met with the equivalence of deadly force.
Yeah. So look at the post that's up there because I just need to highlight this because, for many of us who have not been paying attention to what's been going on in the culture over the last 15 to 20 years, this is a wake up call. I'm having these conversations with my wife, and she isn't like me. She doesn't pay attention to these things, and I'm the one who pays attention to them. And then with this, she woke up to this because she had to begin, like, her feed has been filled with Charlie Kirk's news, and she had to watch videos, and she's waking up to the fact, of some of the things that I've been talking about. So here's a post here that this lady is referring to or replying to. Charlie Kirk spent his life's work and all of his energy and time targeting. You see that buzzword, targeting. They make it look like Charlie Kirk was out there looking for trouble and causing problems, targeting out groups while arguing for a world in which gun massacres would be easy to enact. This person is claiming that everything that happened to Charlie is his fault. That's basically the framing of this, and that any compassion or sadness, is undeserved. So, it's good for us to, see these things. I don't know if I'm going to do a video that covers, some of the social media content that I told you in the last videos that I had been seeing of leftists literally celebrating his assassination. I might not do that, but it's important to kind of see what's going on in the in spaces where we don't hang out. We don't hang out with these people. We don't know what they truly think until something like this happens, and then they begin to tell you what they really think. So we're going to stop here, since this is the last comment, and I would like you to let me know what you think in the comment section. This video has run long. Most of the videos about this situation that I've released have actually run long, and it's intentional. We just need to kind of relax and really talk about this. This isn't one of those things where we kind of try to keep the content under 5 minutes and try to say everything in 5 minutes because we're trying to, keep the YouTube algorithm happy and keep the retention rate of the video as high as possible. This is documenting our thoughts, documenting the reaction of such a heinous crime that was perpetrated on all of us. This happened to all of us. And why do I say that? Because it was intentionally done to send terror throughout the conservative movement. It was done on camera so that everyone could see what happens to you when you stand up and speak up. And I believe that it's getting the opposite effect. People aren't going to sit down and keep quiet. If your plan is to crawl into a corner and take up the fetus position, then you have fallen for the trap that they laid out for you. You're the person that they did that for, and they succeeded. For others, who are taking up courage, who are deciding that thing that God has put in their hearts to do, they are going to get up and get at it, no matter how old you are, 45, 50, 55, even 60. And you're like, look, I've lived my whole life with my head in the sand. It's time for me to do this thing that I believe God is telling me to do or has been trying to get me to do. Get up and get at it. All right? This is your kick in the pants. All right? Get up and get at it. Stop making excuses about time and age and, you not knowing what to do. Get up and go. Because when you stand before the Lord, and you will, and he's going to ask you, what did you do with all of these giftings and all the abilities that I put inside of you to give to the world and to use that to disciple them for Jesus? I bet you that the acceptable answer isn't, oh my Lord, I didn't have time, or oh my Lord, I didn't know what to do, or I wasn't sure I was the one who was meant to be doing that. That's not going to be an acceptable answer. So this is your call to action to do something. And look, you guys have listened to me long enough to know that I'm not advocating for violence of any sort. I'm advocating for you to stand up for what is right, what is true, what is honest, what is just, what is pure, what is lovely and of good report, and things of virtue and praise. Those are the things that I'm asking you to stand up for. And these are clearly things that people who believe leftist values do not stand for. They've made it crystal clear that that's not what they stand for. So this video has run long. This isn't in my usual format. I am hoping that this helps you, that this conversation keeps going, and that we all have this tragedy be somehow a source of inspiration to all of us to get up and to do what we need to do. If you were one of those people who wanted to have the live and let live posture, while leftists were literally pillaging the values of your country, taking prayer away from schools, removing the Ten Commandments from public spaces, and insisting on things that are not natural to be done in public spaces, it's time for you to get up and say, okay, we've had enough of this insanity. It's time for things to go back to the way they should be, because those are the things that made our country great. And don't fall for the conflations that come from them that say, oh, you're advocating for Jim Crow, you're advocating for slavery to be brought back. All of that is just an attempt to make you crawl back into your hole and cower and say, well, I don't want anyone to say something bad about me. Because you know what? They're already saying something bad about you. They are. And what they did to Charlie tells you what they think about your ideas. Charlie wasn't advocating for violence in any shape or form, and he was very, very calm and respectful to people he debated, and yet they did that to him. So they honestly don't care about anything. They don't believe a word they say about being oppressed or being attacked. They don't believe a word of it. So I would advise that you do the same. Don't believe a word that they're saying when they claim that they only want tolerance and peace and unicorns and rainbows. The rules have always been tweaked against conservatives. We were playing a losing game, and they've shown their hand. And when I say they, I'm not referring to everyone who votes left. I'm not pointing a finger at everyone who just happens to vote left. I'm talking about people who have imbibed these values so strongly that they literally have a physical reaction when they think about a conservative. They literally think that you are wrong. And when I say wrong, not that your policies are wrong, but that you are wrong and do not deserve to be within their space. And they will do anything to remove you, from firing you to doing what happened to Charlie. So it's important that you realize that, it's time for us all to just wake up and start having these firm conversations, and honestly, not cede ground. We're not going to cede any more ground to say, okay, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. They are not giving anyone the benefit of the doubt. They never did. All of it was a ruse to make you feel like they wanted to coexist. They don't want to coexist. They want all traces of conservative Christian values scrubbed out of existence. They showed their hand years ago, but conservatives did not get the hint. They took the Ten Commandments from public spaces, took prayer out of school, replaced it with other things that are so godless. I can't believe that is what they replaced prayer with and the Ten Commandments with. This is what you're dealing with. Now, I've gone into a rant. I apologize. And if you've listened for this long, as I always do when I do these long videos, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't think anyone who is a passive listener would have listened this long. But if you're still listening to me at this point, you are a super fan. And I want to invite you to become a member of the channel. I want to have a closer connection with you. I want to have things like live streams with you where I actually have conversations with you. I've done general live streams, but right now I want to make a closer connection to people who actually connect at a closer level with me. And I would like to invite you to join the membership. If you're on the channel that is not monetized yet, if you don't see the membership tab, let me know in the comments section that you want to join the membership on the main channel, and I will give you the link to join the membership on the main channel. I want to connect with you. I want us to have a conversation, have a closer connection. That's why I want to do that, and I want to give you more. Okay, I want to give you more. There are videos that I would like to do, or that I think you want me to do, that won't be for the public to consume, but these will be private experiences for us to enjoy. So let me know in the comment section if you're on the side that doesn't have the membership link yet. Let me know if you want to be a part of it, and then I will send you the link to join the membership. I want to connect with you, and I would love to hang out with you and have deeper conversations. And of course, that would be one way of you supporting me. Those of you on the monetized side, don't forget you can support me by leaving a super thank. I think I have to say this because I believe that most of you are so busy you don't know that that's a thing. So you can leave me a super thank. You can decide to join the membership. You can find a way to support me by liking the video, sharing the video, asking your family and friends to subscribe if they really want to share in this experience. And you can also ask your other friends to become members. So it's one way that you can really support what I'm doing with this channel. I'm doing these videos because I care, and I believe that this is an important pivotal point that anyone who creates conservative content has to stand up and speak up, and not just do content for the algorithm or do content because they want to get views, but actually speak their heart and mind, just like Charlie did. Charlie wasn't creating content. He just happened to say things that people needed to hear and wanted to listen, and it was great content, and it affected us all. So I'm doing this because it is necessary to do, and I hope that it has been a blessing to you. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I would see you on the next one.